Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good
You know,
morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I forgot to change the date. This is January.
I didn't even notice that.
I wasn't going to say anything. Oh, there you go.
Nobody's. No, it's not like we were recording. Oh shoot, we were.
Just let me just cut in for a minute. Kevin, you're absolutely correct. I just checked and all the R's are gone from my address book. My
Oh,
apologies. I just forwarded it to you for your information. I
okay.
will correct this after we get done with our meeting. All right.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Well, yes.
Well, you got to admire Marguerite. She always has unique issues. Her R's are disappearing.
I don't know why it disappeared. I got news for you. I upgraded to Ventura and a lot of things have happened. A lot of weird things have happened.
Yeah, I just had to sort of resubscribe to my Clean My Mac after doing Ventura. It prompted me like 5 minutes before I joined here that it's time to clean my Mac, and then it said I didn't have a license, so I had to reinstall that. And that's because of Ventura, I'm sure.
Sorry, Kevin. Of all people today, I would not get the meeting notice. Sorry.
No problem. At least I know how to get it if I, fortunately the website was updated, so I got the link. So
Well, as George said, it's been the same for several months now because people were having a problem with I can't forward it as a PDF. It didn't work. So he kept it at the same. So anybody can save the message now and apply it in future.
anytime. Okay.
And I used a tiny URL because the Zoom link was like 4 lines long, and when you didn't always grab the whole link, and that messed it up. So this took care of all those issues. Well, good morning, everybody. And now that we've jumped a month ahead, New Year, having a good year.
Yeah.
So far.
Oh yeah.
So far, not bad.
We went 14 days in before we got our first significant snow in Asheville. So it didn't stick long, but we had some snow. All righty. So what we got this month is a guest speaker who luckily made it to the presentation. But we want to then have a Q&A afterwards. So first thing we'll do is we'll do our normal introductions, and Kevin's going to do a presentation talking about the new pass keys and kind of idea of what's different about pass keys versus passwords, and why what's the advantage versus the passwords, and he'll go into all those details for us. Right now I want to introduce our steering committee. Matt Canizio.
Hello.
David Day.
Hello.
And while he's not with us physically, he's still with us spiritually, Terry Morrows. Marguerite Peterson. So without ours, isn't that Margaret?
Right.
It'd be hard without ours. Ed Sheeran.
He's
here?
traveling.
Okay. Jan Sparks. Did I see Jan pop in?
Not here.
No.
I'm George Wagner. And Bob Wilkerson.
Not here.
Not here either. If you have questions, if you have compliments, definitely if you have compliments, if you have complaints, talk to David. Any issues, anything you want to see, anything you want to have us talk about, just hit up one of us and let us know what you'd like to see, what you like about the meetings, what you don't like about the meetings. That's what we're here for. Our purpose is to basically make this group what everybody wants it to be. We can't know that unless you help us out by telling us. Please hit us up anytime with suggestions, with questions, with whatever. All right. So now we were talking with Kevin last month about the pass keys, and he generously offered to do a presentation on them. So with no further ado, we're going to let Kevin take over.
All right. Let me get in here.
Before we do that, George, do we have a guest?
Actually, do we?
Yes. I see a new face. There
I'm
he
a new
is.
guy. I'm Dave.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi.
You want to give yourself a quick introduction for us?
I'm Dave Clark. I live in Etowah near Bill Hatt, who I guess is one of your regulars.
Well, thanks for coming. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We will
Okay.
have Q&A afterwards for more technical questions. And then we hope to see you in future as well.
Thanks for inviting me.
Okay,
Evan, take it away.
all right. Let me get this set up here. All right, so can everybody see my screen? I'm gonna put this in play.
There we go.
All right. So today I'm going to be talking about passkeys and the differences between passkeys and passwords, and sort of where things are at today as opposed to where they'll probably be in a couple of years. So first, let's talk about what passkeys are. Passkeys are a way for you to create an online account, sign into it without entering a password at all. And that's nice because a lot of people are either reusing their passwords or they're using passwords that are so simple that it's easy to, to crack them if a hacker gets a hold of, if they hack into a site and get a hold of the database, they can go ahead and crack those passcodes fairly easily. With passkeys, when they're done correctly, there's nothing you have to type out. Okay, you don't have to enter two-factor authentication codes, and you don't have to worry about somebody trying to trick you on a scam website. So oftentimes they'll try to, with a password setup, somebody will copy a website, make it look exactly like the original website, trick you into going to that website and entering your username and password. With passkeys, because you don't actually know what your passkey is, there's no way for you to go and accidentally enter your credentials into a fake website. Your credentials will only work on original. So it's really going to cut down on people accidentally making a mistake and trying to log into a fake website where they're revealing their password and their username to, to the hacker. So instead of, let me hang on a second. George, how do I move the people on my screen?
There should be at the top. There should be little controls, and one of them should be hide thumbnail view.
But I can't see my cursor, so is that where I need to stop sharing?
Well, no, just hit escape.
Okay, then I can move that.
Yeah, or hide it.
Okay, and then go back in here. All right, so back to where we were. So instead of a password, you're simply going to use your phone, tablet, or your computer as a way to authenticate who you are, and it does that through your face or fingerprint. Okay, so with passkeys, this is going to be, you have to, at least when you set the passkey up, you have to be using iOS 16 and macOS Ventura, one of those operating systems, to actually set up your passkey. Once it's set up, you can use an older browser, but the workaround is a little more steps involved. And I'll demonstrate a bit of that in just a minute here. And passkeys are more secure because each account gets their own key, and the keys can't be it can't be stolen in a data breach. Okay, and I'll explain a little bit more in just a moment. So, so let's talk about how they actually work. So when you visit a site that supports passkeys and you choose that option to create your account, your device, whether it be your phone, tablet, or your PC, will generate two keys, a public and a private key. Okay, and those keys are specific to that site. It happens on your device. It's not happening on the website. The public key, that gets sent to the website server, and that gets stored on their server. But the private key is stored on your device. It never leaves your device. Okay, so two keys, and one is public, one is private. Private stays on your device. The public gets shared to that one website. The public and private keys, they're mathematically linked together like puzzle pieces, and you need both of them to authenticate. So if somebody goes ahead and hacks the website and gets the private key, the public key, they can't do anything with the public key because you need both keys. And the private key sits on your device. So there's absolutely no way that the person is going to be able to get your private key in order for them to, get into your account on that website. So when you go to sign in next, after you've created these public and private keys, your device is going to prompt you to authenticate using either your Face ID or your Touch ID, depending on what device you have. And then that's it. Then you're in. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Any questions so far about that?
Kevin, for the
Yeah.
authentication part, what happens if your fingerprint scanner isn't working right? Can you use your regular password, your regular sign-on password?
If you would use, right. So, okay, if you create a new account on a website and you set it up with passkey, so you've never created a password, all right? And your fingerprint isn't working on your Touch ID.
I've had that on my iPad where it doesn't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to have to work originally because that's the only way you're going to be able to set it up with a passkey.
Okay.
It's got to, right, either Face ID or Touch ID is required in order for you to actually set the passkey up. Once it's been set up, if you come back to that website and you try to log in, and let's say your Touch ID is not working properly and you're not able to do that, then it will prompt you for your computer user account password.
That's
and then you can use that password to go ahead and authenticate.
Good. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Kevin, you said something about if the website accepts passkeys. I tried to go on two banks, one of them being Wells Fargo, and I couldn't figure out whether it accepted passkeys or not. I didn't know where to click, didn't know how to do it.
We'll talk about that in a minute. When I do the demonstration, you'll see the difference between websites that will accept passkeys currently and websites that don't. So we'll get into that in just a minute, Ken. So it'll be more clear when we get through to that point. So any other questions before we get into pros and cons? Okay. So let's talk about the pros first. Every passkey is strong by default. This is not something that you're making up. You don't have to come up with the passkey. It's done on your device and you never get to see it. Okay, so it's going to create this strong passkey It's stored on your device. The private key is stored on your device. And so they're going to be strong by default because it's your device that's creating it. You don't have to remember or type out the passkey. And you can't even, when you go to look for the passkey, you won't see anything. Okay, there's nothing for you to copy down and try to type in. Okay. Your private key is never shared with the website that you want to sign into. So without it ever being shared, there's absolutely no way if the website if it's been hacked, all they're going to get is the public keys, and the public keys aren't going to do anything for them. Okay. Your public key can't be used to figure out your private key. There's no way for them to take that and try to, reverse engineer it or something and figure out the private key. And passkeys are strong against phishing and social engineering. So as we talked about, somebody setting up a fake website, it's not going to do them any good, because only the real website is going to be able to, to authenticate with your public and private key. So, all right, now let's talk about the disadvantages. Right now, as Ken kind of indicated, he had gone to a couple of banking websites and couldn't find anything. Okay. So right now in this transition time, it's a little bit of a hodgepodge. In other words, there are a few sites that implement passkeys really, really well. There are other ones that kind of do it part way. You still end up setting up your account with the password, which I don't quite understand. And there are others that only work on certain browsers currently. So it's kind of, and I'll demonstrate some of that stuff so you kind of get a clue. You're going to be locked into one ecosystem for most people currently. So in other words, if you set it up on an Apple device, then you're going to need an Apple device in order to log into your website. There are other ways to kind of do it if you're on a friend's computer and you need to get into your website, but you got to have at least one of your devices with you, because there's no other way to be able to log into that site without a device to authenticate. So I can talk about a little bit more in just a minute. And then you can't log on. That's what I just said. You can't log on to a passkey secured account from a friend's computer without your own device. So if you've got your phone and you're over it and you've created your passkey account on on one of your devices, and you have your phone with you, and you're sharing you've got your keychain enabled in your iCloud account, so that all your devices have access to your keychain. Then when you go over to your friend's house and you've got your phone with you, then when you try to log in using their computer, there's going to be a QR code that's shown on the screen, and you're going to need to use your phone or tablet in order to scan that code to do the authentication. So it can be done, but it's really, right now, it's really kind of geared for, having at least one of your devices with you at all times if you're going to log in from, someplace else. So, any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. So let's go in and take a look at a couple of places where this can work. Okay. So we're going to go first over to, now I've not done this one. I've not tested it, but it looked pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and try this one out. So, everybody still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, I am right now on Safari. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and enter a, now it's prompting me for a passkey, but I've never set up I've never set anything up on this. So actually we're going to just go in and register. Let me put in a username here first. Okay. And let's register this. You can see on my screen, I hope, the sign-in screen. Can everybody see that?
Yes, yes.
So do you want to save a passkey for this user? They're going to be saved in my iCloud keychain. And now what it's asking for is for my Touch ID in order to go ahead and register. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Touch ID.
Kevin,
And yeah.
other options would have been if they would have let you do the password at that point.
If they would have let me set up a password.
It would let you use your device's password if your Touch ID wasn't working.
I didn't try that, but we can certainly try that with a different name. So let me go ahead and so let's say now I've registered this username on this website. And now to authenticate, to come into the site, I click on authenticate. It's asking me for the passkey to use my Touch ID in order to, share the private passkey with this website. So I simply go ahead and put on my finger and I'm into the site. Okay, so that's how a passkey should work, or that's the best case scenario. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and try again. All right, if I come back to it again, you can see that in my keychain, I'm being prompted for this user. And again, all I need to do is put my fingerprint over and I'm logged back in. So it's very quick. It's very easy. I didn't have to come up with a password, and so it works out well. Let's go ahead and as George suggested, let's try something different here. All right, so let's try another one. We're going to register, and we're going to click other options here. Right. See what happens. So I can enable a passkey in iCloud keychain, and I can go ahead and create a passkey on a device with a camera, or I can do an external security key, okay, which is a physical device. So this second option means that I'm going to end up being prompted a QR code. Okay, so like I said, most of these, the Touch ID or your Face ID, are going to be what's required. So, but we do have some other options here. So that would be what works for that. So now let's go. Let's take a look at another site here. Let's go back to. Oops. Back to my keynote. And Kayak is a site, kayak.com, which is another site that does it well. Okay, so over at Kayak, when you go to do a sign-in, you can either sign in with an email address, or you can obviously use one of these other accounts. But so if I'm coming here for the first time and I want to set up an account, then I can click continue with email, okay, if I want to use a passkey. Now it's prompting me because I've already set one up here, but let's go ahead and just enter a different address. All right, so I'm going to create a new, oops, sorry, hang on. All right, and sorry for the one password prompt there. I use a password manager, and I've got my keychain turned on and my autofill turned on so I could show you this. So just sort of disregard this 1Password. That's because I use that as my password manager. And I'll explain that in a moment, why I do that. But I'm just going to go ahead and create an account here. It sends me an email the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to my email, which I don't have running. Let's go over. So I've got an account, I've got a link here to Kayak. We're going to go ahead and click that. And then, let's see, return to search. So now I'm signed in under this account, okay? You can see my username up here. I didn't create a password, but I did have to go through a step of answering an email. So at this point, let me sign out. And if I come back here and I sign in to Kayak and I continue with email, if I use this account, oh, sorry. And I click continue. And this one's not working right here. All right, so let me just go back. Maybe it's because I was signed in. Let's sign in. I've set up this other one called with this other email address. And so let's just use this for an example. Since I've already set it up and I'm coming back here, it's prompting me for this passkey. You can see passkey for this website. If I go ahead and use my fingerprint, then it logs me in under this username, and I didn't have to do anything. So the setup process on this compared to the other site, this site was really simple. There was no extra step. With kayak.com, I ended up having to do that email step, which is a little different. And that's what I'm talking about when I say hodgepodge, because everybody is doing this a little bit differently at this time. The other, so that's if you're coming to a website and you've never created an account and there's an option for passkey, it should show it on the first page. And I'll show you that in another example here. So let's say, for example, I go to, well, even Best Buy right now. Best Buy is one that's using passkeys, but the way it works is like this. Here I am on Best Buy. If I go in to create a new account, all right, there is no place for me to do anything but sign up with a password. Okay. I mean, I could sign up with Google, but there's no passkey option here, which is, again, yet another way that people are doing this, websites are doing this. So let's say I go back and I log into my current account. Okay. I've already got an account. I've set it up. You know, I've had this account for years. And let me just go into my authenticator because I've got two-factor authentication turned on for this website.
Where'd you get these?
Go.
They're really.
Okay, so now I'm logged into my account. Okay. If I go to my account details, and you're not going to necessarily know this unless you go check your websites, okay, that you already have accounts with. If I go over here to account settings where I can change my address, my password, and my preferences, you can see here that I've got email addresses, change of password, manage two-step verification, and passkey, face or fingerprint sign-in. Okay, so if I go over to that, I can create a passkey, okay, to use on this website. What I don't understand, and I've not figured this out yet, is if I create a passkey, it still has my password and username. So if the site, if Best Buy gets hacked, can somebody still sign in with my username and password, which are not as secure as a passkey? That I don't know. I don't have an answer for you for that. So, so it's kind of a little strange how they're doing this. Now you can see I've created a passkey, all right, already for this account. But you can see that when if I log out of this account, let's see, sign out. If I go to log in, there is, oh, okay. So it didn't offer this to me earlier. It did on Chrome, but not on Safari. So that's interesting because I've never seen this sign in with passkey before. So because I've got a passkey set up, I can go ahead and use my fingerprint and get in there. Okay. And now I'm logged in. I still have two-step verification turned on. And the only reason I've left it on is because I'm not sure where it still has my username and password for original sign-in. I want that protected. Okay. If they gave me an option of saying you can switch over to passkey and just use passkey, then I would turn off two-step verification,
Right.
because it's redundant. Does everybody understand that? I know that's a little confusing, and this is a little confusing to start with.
Kevin,
Yeah,
just how long has this been around? In other words,
it
just a new technology, a baby technology?
Yeah, it was announced in I think like August or September.
Okay.
That Apple and Google and Microsoft were all on board with this. So
right.
you get, I've noticed that a lot of places Chrome works more consistently than Safari. Edge is working. I don't use Edge, but apparently that's working. So let's go over for a second here, and I'll show you. If we go back to the presentation, hang on, and we go to 1Password. 1Password has set up a website for you to try this out. But when we come over here, it says, please try a different browser. Support for Safari and Firefox is coming soon. In the meantime, you can try the demo using 1Password extension in Chrome or Edge. So this was a way for me to try 1Password's what they're trying to do with passkeys. And so in order for me to test this, I actually have to use Chrome. If we go over to my Chrome browser and we go, let's see here. Here's the Chrome browser on the same website. So now it's giving me the option to go ahead and create a username and go through and set up a passkey. So it's working on Chrome, but it's not working on Safari or Firefox at this point with this particular website.
Right.
So it really depends on the website and the technology that they're using. In other words, which browsers they're supporting. So, so when I say that it's a hodgepodge, for now, because it's so new, you may see places that allow you to sign in with a passcode. And if all you're using is Safari and it doesn't support it, then you're not going to get the option to sign in with passkey. Any questions?
So Kevin, have you not seen anywhere on that Best Buy website where you can actually delete your username and passcode?
I have not, but again, I didn't do that earlier because let's go over here. Let's go back to Best Buy. When I let me go get my authenticator back in here. Okay, so when we go into my account and we go back to account settings, and then so when you set this up, there's no way, I'm not prompted here to delete my username and password. And if I go in here, well, let's go back, just go back one page. I don't think that I can, there isn't a place that I can see where I can just kind of switch over, transition into the passkey solely without having still my username and password from the original account setup. So
Yeah,
that's why
it seems like that's something that Best Buy needs to implement so that you can delete the original and keep your passkey.
And they may do that in the future, but again, it's fairly new technology. So
Right.
I want to go over and show you. Let's go back to
Kevin,
1Password. Yeah.
what I think Best Buy is doing is just, taking advantage of the convenience, but not taking advantage of the security.
Right, which is unfortunate because the whole idea is for you to
Right.
be able to
Have both.
feel more secure knowing that you're using a passkey as opposed to a password. So on 1Password's website, and this is certainly not a full directory by any means, but just to give you an idea, when we look at the directory of places that 1Password, which is a password manager, that they've kind of looked to see who's doing what, you can see that there are not a very long list of companies. So it says, and I didn't try it, PayPal, and I've not tried that one yet. eBay, I believe, is on here. So eBay is listed.
Sure.
And
Kevin, I was at both Best Buy and what's the other one? The one that's associated with Best Buy, PayPal. Just within the last day or so, no promptings for any of that.
Well, it depends on what, if you're using the app on your phone or something, or on your computer, then oftentimes it's already set up to do if you set it up with Face ID or Touch ID, then you're sort of doing that, but you still created your account with a username and a password.
Right.
And that's the problem, in my opinion, because who's to say that Best Buy isn't going to get hacked and then my username and password is out there? Now, I use two-factor authentication so that if I am signing in from something that doesn't have, if I'm not using the app, then I still have to use my my two-factor authentication, which gives me a little more protection.
Hey,
But
Kevin,
go ahead.
on the sites,
Oh, go on. Sorry, George. Please go ahead.
on the sites that do it properly, the creation of the passkey.
Mhm.
What about if you already have an account that was created the old way? Are they supporting deleting that old information and just doing the passkey? Do you know?
I don't know because I never had an account with Kayak, and I never had an account with the other one was the web, right. Those are two companies that I've not ever had accounts with. So, and I've not found in the companies that I do have accounts with, and I've certainly not gone through all my accounts, all my, websites that I have accounts with to see whether they have the passkey option. So I'll keep everybody updated, and anybody else who happens to see it. The way to do that would basically be to go into when you're on your account logged in, you know, is to go under your account settings where you would change passwords and see if,
They mentioned
like
it.
Best Buy, they offer it. And if there's a way to kind of get rid of your old information once you've set that up.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
right
maybe we'll-
now, I don't know of a way to do that.
Kevin, are these services on a subscription basis?
No. No, you mean like Kayak or?
Kayak, yeah.
No, that's just a search site for, you know,
Okay.
checking out, you know, flights and things like that. So that's not a subscription by any means. It's just a regular website. But they've gone ahead
Okay.
and implemented it where if you're new to the site, then when you go in to create a new account, in this one, you do have to create with an email and do that first step. But once you've done that, then your passkey is what you use every time after that. Whereas
The reason
the,
I asked, excuse me,
go ahead.
the reason I asked is in the late 90s, MIT had something called PGP, and PGP used the public and private passkeys. And MIT kept a repository of all the public keys and did it for no charge. And I was just wondering if these people are actually charging to do that, but apparently not. Apparently they're building it right into their websites.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is what's happening is they're trying to transition from passwords, which I think, as we all know, either from our own experience or perhaps others, that creating passwords is a chore if you're not letting a password manager do it for you. So often people will reuse a password because they don't want to have to try to remember, you know, or write down passwords for, you know, for every site. I can't tell you how many times I go to a client and we're setting something up on their computer, or maybe they've got a new device or whatever, and we need to get their email address password for, let's say, their Gmail, and they open up a book and
Right.
start thumbing through to try to find where they might have that, and that's it. One, it's you know, it's not very secure if they're not creating, and usually their passwords are not anything that's really long or complex. So they're using an easier password so that they can try to remember it and or write it down. And then, you know, they're always having to search for it and can't always find it.
Hmm.
So it gets to be very cumbersome and not secure. So with passkeys, where that's all being stored on your device, then, you know, it's way more secure right off the bat. But we are in this transition time where it's going to take a while before websites, you know, start building that into their sign up process and or, you know, transition from your old username and account to a new passkey option.
You know, Kevin, I have an account at United Community Bank,
Uh-huh.
and I believe they're just now starting to prompt you to try out two-factor authentication. So you
Okay.
know how long we've been doing this. Smaller
Right.
companies, smaller banks are really going to be behind the curve on this one of implementing it.
Right. Yeah.
What-
And go ahead.
Well, one thing that will be advantageous is a lot of these smaller places are using like prepackaged modules, like for Square and such. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of the apps for different banks are identically designed, so it's the same app. So once the company behind that starts supporting these things, you'll start seeing the banks jump on that much quicker because it's just a feature of the thing that they've been using for years.
Right. An example of that would be for me, for my business, if I wanted to say, you know, pay with Apple Pay, then my the merchant account that I have to accept credit cards, already has that built in. I didn't have to do anything on my end. I just have to pay for that service, that option, and then it's automatically implemented on my site to be able to accept Apple Pay. So like George said, I think it will be similar where you'll have these companies, like if Square starts adopting it or whatever, people who have accounts with those or set up their websites with those services are automatically going to be able to implement that technology, and it will transition faster than every little mom and pop having to try to build it in themselves. So any other questions that I can answer? As I said, it's not so, the technology is new and it's not been, I've not seen a lot of implementations of it. So I still have questions myself in terms of how will this all go, but I would expect that in the next, another year or two, that we're going to be seeing a lot more places where you can either transition your current account to a passkey situation, or when you're creating a new account on a new website, you'll have the option to create a passkey, which would be great.
I have an M1 iMac and I don't like the keyboard. So I'm using a Logitech keyboard, which does not have a fingerprint pad.
Uh-huh.
I can't use passkeys on my iMac. Is that correct?
Well, you may be able to. You would probably have to do it first with your the keyboard on your M1 iMac, and then when that's done, you may be able to just use your password for your computer account. When you normally log into your account.
Yeah. Which I'm still being prompted for that. Once when I take it out of sleep mode, it says you must log in with your password. And then once I do that, from that point on, the fingerprint reader's used for everything. But I do have that.
Even out of sleep mode, Matt, you should be able to, because I have my computer set up so that the screen will lock after 10 minutes of inactivity. Right. Okay. Then when I come and hit a key, it says use your password or your Touch ID.
Well, this is a problem I've had consistently, and I upgraded to Ventura just a week or so ago, and it's still doing it. It did it today, in fact.
Well, if you want me to take a look at that, the only way that I know of that it prompts you for your password once you've already entered it once is if you log out of your account, as opposed to just so you can log out of your account and the computer will still go to sleep. But once you go to log back in, you're going to have to use your password again.
Right. Well, I don't log out ever.
Well, there have an option in the lock screen that will require the password. That may, for that first login, require the password and not the Touch ID.
That's what it does. And then from that point on, it's Touch ID.
Yeah.
It's just the initial time I sit down at the computer.
Apple still views the password for your device, passcode, as the ultimate administrative security. That's why when you turn your device on for the first time, you have to use that passcode before Face ID or Touch ID will work. If you go in to make changes in your administrative account,
right,
requires that. So they still consider that to be more a step up above the Face ID or Touch ID.
Yeah, it's the same thing when it, as I mentioned earlier, I had to reactivate clean my Mac. And I had to, put in my administrative password for it to load its little module in or do whatever it does. So I'm used to that. I've got a funny story just to show you about human nature. I was a bank teller in 1966. And in those days, the buzzword was the Checklist Society, was one of the buzzwords that we're going to have the Checklist Society. And the other one was that they were having a very difficult time getting people to give up their old passbooks. I don't know if anybody remembers in the old days, you'd go, they'd make an entry in your passbook instead, and people didn't want to give up those passbooks. I could see the same thing happening with this. No one's going to want to give up those passwords to try something new. So,
well, a lot of people actually don't know their password to the point where the forgot password is how they log into everything.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't I show you where I have all my passwords stored so I don't have to remember them. Making a
Hey,
joke,
Well,
Jan,
and
making a joke, folks.
that was actually something I forgot to show you, is that what I wanted to do was to show you, and let me see if I can just do a quick, let me go into my passwords here. So if let me go back here and share again. All right. So if we look at, I'm in Safari, okay? And I went to my passwords and I went to the kayak.com where I've set that passkey up. You can see here that normally if I'm in if I'm choosing, you know, one of my accounts over here, well, let's choose something that's not a caution here. So if I go over here, you can see that there's a password here, okay? But when you go to Kayak and you go to look it up, there's nothing to look up.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So that's just your private key that it says passkey over here, created 12/29. But that's it. That's all you're gonna see.
Just out of curiosity, I wonder what Best Buy would show, since it has both.
Let's go over to Best Buy. All right. So I've got a password and a passkey.
There you go.
Okay. And there's my verification code that keeps recycling every so many seconds. Okay.
There it goes.
So that's my authentication code. So Safari does a pretty good job, but if I can't get rid of this password and I don't have two-factor authentication turned on where it's generating a code for me, how easy is it going to be for somebody to get my username and password if they hack into Best Buy?
Sure.
Right.
That's right.
So
one little thing I want to mention, this is a sad story, but it's something we should all think about. My neighbors across the street are very elderly, and they were both hospitalized within a day of each other, and one passed on, but the other one came back and had a caretaker who gave me the keys to the house to watch for the cat and everything until they found out what was going to happen with the survivor. And I walked in the house and they had all this medical equipment going, and I shut it off and all that. And then I walked over to the computer, and there on the wall they had a sign with their user ID and password and bank, and in large letters. I mean, you couldn't miss this when you walked in. And I was just thinking about those caretakers that are taking care of this elderly woman, walking in there, and there's everything there. They could have copied it all down by now for sure. The woman did take it down. I got into the house later on when she came back. But it's something that I think a lot of elderly people are doing. And
absolutely. Yeah, I see that all the time.
Something happens, the first person in the house could clean their account out. So
on a related but other side of that equation, Apple did implement the legacy contact.
Yes.
If you have not set that up, it is a good thing to do. That way, if something does happen to you, that person is given basically your administrative level access to your Apple ID.
Right. Thanks for reminding me. I have to set that up. Yeah.
There are other sites that do that as well, like Facebook and I think Gmail. You can set some parameters. But one of the things I wanted to mention, one of the reasons that I use 1Password as a password manager is that what 1Password is trying to do, as I said in the pros and cons, one of the cons was that you were sort of locked into an ecosystem. So if I'm using my Safari browser and I create a passkey using my Safari browser, and that's stored in the keychain, when I go over to Chrome, then I don't have access to that. Google Chrome isn't gonna have access to my keychain.
Actually, if you are using keychain and not the Safari Safe Passwords,
Yeah.
you should get a passwords option. You click on that, and you can search through and use the Safari saved information in Chrome.
Will that work with a passkey though?
I would think it would, because it's still going to have
Yeah.
that public and private key. I haven't tested out. You might want to try that,
Mhm.
but
I
since it
didn't.
is in the keychain, you should have access to that from any browser.
Right.
I didn't realize that if you created a username and password in your keychain, that you could then have access to that in Firefox or Chrome or anything like that.
There's a check off when you go into passwords,
Mhm.
and you set it up. They would check off for those other two browsers to share them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because the whole idea between 1Password is no matter which device you have and which browser you use, so you can have Windows devices, Android devices, 1Password will work across them. And if you're storing your passkey in 1Password, then that's your passkey is available on an Android device, a Windows PC, whatever browser you're using on any of those devices. And that isn't a feature that you have with, with saving it in your keychain. You can't go to an Android phone and now start using your passkey. You got to go through that other process. Not that a lot of us that attend these meetings have Android phones and iPhones or anything like that. But if you've got a Mac computer, but you have an Android phone, 1Password is an option that would allow you to go cross-platform with your passkeys. So that's what they're working on. They're a part of that same consortium of companies that are working on this passkeys, technology.
What if I set up a passkey on my phone using Face ID? What happens on my iMac?
Does your iMac, is it a newer iMac or an old iMac?
It's an M1.
Okay, so you would just use your touch ID on your because your passkey gets stored in your keychain and your authentication comes from your fingerprint on your iMac.
Okay, thank you.
It should, if you don't have Touch ID or Face ID on your device, you should still be able to enter in the passcode for that device to access the safe passkey.
Right.
Hey, this is
It's just
Ken.
a little.
I got a related question. I'm sitting here with a Mac Mini M2, and it doesn't have Face ID on it that I know of, and it certainly doesn't have Touch ID. I have Face ID on my phone, and I have Touch ID on my MacBook Pro. So does that mean I can't use passkeys with my M2 Mac Mini? Or is this
No.
camera that's a third-party camera, is that Face ID?
No. So for you, Ken, you would have to do the option that you have two options. One is you get an Apple keyboard that has the Touch ID built into it that will work with your Mac Mini. That's number one. That's the simplest thing. The other is, like George had said, you couldn't, if all you had was your M2 Mac Mini, you could never set up a passkey without, I don't believe, unless it's again going to prompt you for a QR code or something like that. But you're still gonna, you could set up your account on your phone using your Face ID as your authentication, and then when you get to your Mac Mini, you would just have to enter your computer login password in order to access your keychain. So you're going to have extra steps because you're going to have to type in a password as opposed to using a fingerprint.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Now, the one thing I'm wondering with continuity, if Apple will basically, since they do it with the watch and the phone to unlock your Mac, could they also let you be on your computer but approve it on your phone or your watch with Face ID or Touch ID?
They may, because there is, and I didn't test that out. I have an older computer that doesn't have Touch ID or Face ID, and it was not a scenario that I tested out where I went over there and tried to log in, because most of my accounts either prompt me, like Best Buy, I have a password and username. So it prompts me on my old computer for the username and password as opposed to the pass key. And I haven't tried the pass key to see, does that,
Your kayak,
you know,
the best one to test, since it adjusts.
right. Right. So I can test that one out and see. I think at that point it ended up prompting me to do the email again, and log in that way, which was to me still cumbersome. It wasn't like the web, authentication website where that seemed to be the best scenario.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll have that, because that's one of the nice things with the Apple Watch and the iPhone on the newer Macs. You can unlock them with just bring your watch nearby.
Right.
I think my new iMac has a true depth camera. Is it possible by software that they could add Face ID to the iMac?
No, that's not available as an option. You only have the Touch ID on your keyboard for an iMac.
If I remember correctly, the Face ID is not totally camera based. There's also some other sensors involved.
Yeah, and the camera on your iMac is strictly a camera. It doesn't have the other sensors that would be able to scan your face and do a Face ID kind of authentication. So I believe that's only on the iPad Pros and the iPhones. I'm not sure about the iPad Air, the new version, but
Regarding the M1 iMacs, I hadn't used mine for a couple of weeks, and in the old days they had batteries in the keyboards. Now they give you a wire, you hook it up, a cable, you hook it up, and you charge it, and it was dead. My keyboard, where in the old days with the 2 batteries that I put in, it used to last like a year and a half. This thing only lasted a couple of weeks without me using it, and I have to charge it up. Now I have it plugged in, and I'm assuming it's 100% charge. As soon as you plug it in, it'll work. But so that's something that's, I guess, was convenience, but it's not as good as the old way of doing it.
Go to your settings, Matt, and check your keyboard battery level as well as your mouse battery
Oh,
level.
I did it. That's, as soon as I saw what was going on, I did that because the keyboard did not respond, and it was, it was out. The first thing I did was hook up the keyboard. I'll double check with the mouse. This thing is at least 100% now with the keyboard.
I usually get on those type devices, and most of the time my keyboard is right there in front of my device. I keep it plugged in all the time.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing now. Right.
I wish I could do that with the mouse, but for some reason they still have not changed.
Yeah, it's still that stupid thing. They're very clear about that when you open up the box. It says you can use the keyboard while you're charging it, but not the mouse.
At least not easily.
No. Somebody's got to hold it up in the air for a while.
All right. Any other questions for Kevin?
Thank you very much, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Oh, thanks, Kevin.
All right, let's open.
Excellent presentation.
What's that? Go ahead, Dave. What was saying?
I think it's an excellent presentation Kevin prepared.
Thanks, David.
I like the way you talked slowly and clearly. It was so easy to follow.
Good. I'm glad. And unfortunately, it's still a little. It's not as clear, the implementation of passkeys, so it does make it. There is a layer of sort of complexity to the presentation, just because it's not something that everybody's adopted,
Right?
And not not the same way. So.
But it's also a different way of logging in than we're used to. I wanted to open this up for just general questions. We had somebody who sent a question in about they had
Sandy.
Yeah, she saved
Yeah.
her passwords in a folder, and that folder disappeared. Um,
Oh,
I had asked her prior to the meeting if she had Time Machine, and she said she had it, but it wasn't currently seeing the hard drive. So what I suggest that she do is unplug and power down the drive, plug it back in, and see if the drive comes up. If the drive comes up, she should be able to go into the Time Machine and find a older version of that file.
Hmm.
Hopefully will be up to date as much as she needs it to be, depending on how long ago the backup was.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
George, and even though the last backup was in December, it doesn't have that folder in notes. It's like it's gone. So I have,
Oh, okay. But backups, I didn't realize I missed it was in notes.
Yeah.
If you go to Apple's website, the id.apple.com,
yeah,
I know they back up the contacts and calendars. I'm not sure if they back up the notes. How long ago did this disappear?
last night.
Okay.
Oh,
Then
I went to open it and it just flashed gone and it wanted to start a new note.
double check, make sure it's not in recently deleted.
It's not.
But check Apple's website, id.apple.com. I know that they do your contacts and your calendars for 30 days. They back them up. So if they
Hmm.
also do notes, then you may have the notes there.
yeah.
Cover them.
Okay. I also have full coverage for help online and maybe they can help me.
Yeah, they give
Okay,
them.
yeah.
Okay.
Basically, if you go into the notes and then go into Time Machine, after you're doing where the notes are, see if it brings up the notes in Time Machine, and you can go back in time to see if that folder appears.
It does, but that folder's not there.
Hmm.
Did you see? Did you keep going back and it didn't appear in any of them?
Mm-mm. It's crazy. I think it has something to do with Ventura. They wanted to restart my computer later. That's not happened. I don't have enough gigabytes for Ventura. And
Oh.
Well,
this,
then Ventura wasn't installed yet, so that wouldn't have caused the issue then.
okay,
The one other thing to try is go to log into your Apple ID and see if it happens to be in the notes there.
go in. Okay, so go into id.apple.com.
No, this is iCloud.com. Log into your Apple ID, and it will have your calendar, your contacts, your notes, and everything that are being synced. See if it's there,
Right.
because it could be a server.
I did that and it's not there either. It's
Oh,
a
my goodness.
craziest thing.
Sandy,
Yes.
is there a chance that were the passwords was the note in a folder, or was the note just titled but in your list of notes? Did you have it in a separate folder?
I have it. Well, everything in notes is in a folder, right?
Hmm.
Not
No,
necessarily.
no.
Okay, so if I go to my notes, hold
And
on.
look in the left column and
Right.
tell me if you're just looking at individual notes or if you're looking at folders.
Do you want? She could share her screen.
Can
You
If
want
I?
to do that, Sandy?
Yeah, how do I do that?
you want us to see, you should see a button. A green button says Share Screen,
Yes.
On the bottom.
and you can just share the Notes app if you want.
Okay. How do I find them? Um,
Open should be showing on your screen there. So if you look around, you should see your notes.
are you seeing what I'm looking at right now?
Not yet.
Not
No,
yet.
oh, share.
No,
I have to
You
hit
gotta do the
share.
share, yeah.
Okay. Open system preferences. It's giving me an option to do that.
Well, you should. It should
Notes.
No.
It's your
Oh.
notes,
Um,
a thumbnail of your notes.
basic, advanced files, and then I have desktops, iPhone, iPad, AirPlay, iPhone pad via cable, mail unknown, Safari unknown. Let me just hit share.
Yeah,
It-
let's see
it
where you are.
wants- It wants the preferences.
Good,
Uh,
just
Can you see what I'm seeing?
No,
Not
Yeah.
yet.
not yet.
Okay, so
Share
wait,
share your desktop.
share my desktop, okay, Bluetooth,
Should be the first top left option
um,
under the base settings.
I'm in security and privacy.
No, you just want to hit the green share button on your screen
Yeah, okay,
In
so.
Zoom.
in Zoom. Yeah, in
On
Oh,
your
Zoom.
Zoom
desktop.
screen.
Okay, okay, desktop. But it's only saying, okay, so I've highlighted desktop, but it
Then hit-
has one of those triangles with an exclamation mark in it.
What's that triangle say?
It
That's
just
perfect.
says desktop one.
Try hitting share and see what happens.
Okay. It just wants me to open system preferences.
Oh, you have to give permission. That's why. Go ahead and
Okay,
open
okay, so I did that.
and think it's
Okay,
price.
maybe, let me see, it's giving, okay, notes, it's giving me an option of opening notes, share menu items, iCloud, or internet accounts.
Try notes.
Notes.
Okay, I'll just hit notes and, yeah, but it's not gonna open. Notes in iCloud just opened. Okay.
Okay,
so, okay, so I'm gonna go to notes and iCloud. No, it just,
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me see what privacy settings need to be set for Zoom. What you're running into is the computer's not letting Zoom have access to that information, which is by design.
mhm,
It's-
And she's not running Ventura, so it's system preferences as opposed to system settings, which
settings.
the location is a little different.
if you say so.
George is looking for that. I can see him.
Regretfully, I'm even further behind in operating systems because of,
Yeah,
so I know it's different on the new ones. It should be, I'm thinking it's either files and folders recording that we need to have. So if you go into system preferences,
Okay, okay,
go into security and privacy, it's a little house icon.
yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Security and privacy.
Be on the
mm,
top, I think.
No, I'm not seeing it.
In those search, type in security.
General, in security, okay.
What's it say at the top of that window right now?
System preferences, and it has a whole list of things under security. Security settings, security and privacy.
Your privacy is what we want.
Okay,
Okay, and then there should be some tabs. You want to click, make sure you're on privacy if it's not already there.
it has general, fire vault, firewall, and privacy. Right now I'm in privacy.
Okay.
And on
Now,
the left,
on the left
no.
side, you see files and folders.
um, I do not see files. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. There it is. Okay.
Click on the, and on the right side, do you see Zoom?
Let me look. Yes, I do.
The bottom left is a little lock. Click on the lock and type in your computer password to unlock that. So
Do
we
I
can make,
open, what, do I open Zoom? Wait a minute.
well, you have to hit that little padlock first to unlock it so that we can,
yeah,
Oh, hit the padlock. Oh,
right, and then,
okay, use password.
that's your computer password.
Okay, here we go.
You should be able to click on the Zoom. Put a little check next to it.
Unlock.
Okay.
Okay, I did that.
The Zoom is checked now.
And Zoom is Zoom. Zoom is just listed as Zoom. It doesn't have any checks. It has
you should-
download folder
Yeah.
underneath it.
No, so now check the little Zoom, the little checkbox by Zoom. You'll be able to do that now.
Oh, okay. Let me find it. On the left there.
No, on the right side, left side should be files and folders.
Okay.
right side, scroll down to the Zoom and check the little checkbox.
Okay, it doesn't have a checkbox. It has a box for downloads and Zoom will not have access to files in your downloads folder until it is quit.
Okay, then that's not the one. On the left side, scroll down to screen recording.
That's the one, George. It's
Okay.
screen recording.
Oh, there it
I
is.
just looked
Now I
looked
can
on my
check
other
it.
one. Yeah.
Okay, like that,
Okay.
and then go ahead and close system preferences.
Okay, it wants me to hit quit and reopen for Zoom.
So should have to log out and log back into the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Want me to do-
I mean, do you want to do that? If we want to get this solved, that's probably the best way of doing it. So if you want to do
Okay.
that,
All right.
In the meantime, I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Matt Canizio today.
Hello.
happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Happy
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday, Matthew.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'm gonna check out. See you next month.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm back in.
There you are.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now go hit the share button.
Okay,
Big green thing, share screen. Green.
Share screen, right? Or the green.
Yeah, it's a big green blob. There we are.
There we go.
Okay, so now
Okay.
notes.
so now I go to,
I think that's,
No, you're good. Just go to, we're seeing what you're screen now.
yeah.
Okay.
Go to notes.
Go to notes. There they are.
New note.
Look at this. No, that's TMUG. No, that's me. So this note right here that's highlighted, that's where my username and passwords were, but that's what I got left with last night.
It checked recently deleted, correct?
Okay, so recently deleted, it's not in there.
Go back to your all iCloud
Oh, yeah, right
in the
above.
left column. And what was the name of the?
It
Of
was
the-
usernames and passwords, and I've tried
So-
typing that in.
Well, I was gonna say, it says you have 158 notes, right?
Yeah, but
So click on the search on the top left, top right corner of your window, of your notes window. Click on the search all the
Magnify-
way to the right.
The magnifying glass way over to the extreme right.
I
on the
can't
top.
see it. Okay, I need to move this over.
There you
Look.
go.
Sizing it. Grab the top there to move it.
I don't see that.
There it is. Keep going over towards the right. There, one more.
But cancel that.
Yeah,
Should I hit share here?
Cancel.
cancel.
Cancel. Okay, I gotta go further over here.
You see the
No, don't
magnifying
drag-
glass?
Don't drag.
Yeah,
Don't drag the side of the notes.
Grab the
Just
top.
click on the top and drag the window. Click on the actual top. There
Oh,
you go.
There we go.
Now see the search
there's
on the
my
right
search.
There
side.
it is.
Yeah. Type in what you named that file.
Does it matter or lowercase or uppercase?
No. Okay. So that's not showing
it's
up.
not finding anything.
Whoops, I get it spelled wrong.
No, it just
It
went.
would have, yeah, there was enough there, it would have found it, yeah.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? And if I go into iCloud, that extra is just a
Just
blank.
type user instead of usernames and passwords.
Yeah, I didn't see it pop up when she was
Yeah,
typing.
usually
Okay.
it shows.
Yeah, just leave the. Okay, so still nothing with user.
Yeah,
No.
So let's go to the Safari and just try id.apple.com. Let's see if they have a backup of that.
Go to Safari down here.
Safari, yeah.
And then just in the address there, type in id.apple.com.
Oops.
Yeah, click where it says US02.
Yeah,
Click there and just type in id.apple.com. That's good then. Oh, Yeah, just hit return. Yep, just hit return now. Okay. And then it should be a login. What's the login? Scroll
That's
down.
support.
Oh, yeah, that's I'm sorry. Go back to
So
ID.
it's, yeah, I think it's appleid.apple.com.
They both get there. They've mapped them.
It is.
There you go.
There
Hit
it
the
is.
return key.
Hit return. Yeah. Okay.
Sign
Good.
in.
Yeah, sign in.
I just had to create a new ID just so I could get in.
Oh, whoa,
ID.
whoa, 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 back up. You created a new ID.
I had to create a new ID to get into my Apple account last night because I was trying to get into,
You're saying new? Do you mean new password or new ID?
oh, I'm sorry, new password. I had to
Oh.
create a new password to get in.
Okay.
So,
That's fine. If you created a new ID, would have been the problem.
Yeah.
okay, I have to use a different.
No,
Okay,
no.
that's
Can you,
my-
no,
My
is that
touch,
the,
my touch ID like Matt doesn't work, so I have to, it just doesn't work.
so,
I want a different ID. Just try the Touch ID till it fails, and then you can put your passcode in.
no, you don't,
Okay, that's
yeah.
correct. Okay. Hold on. Okay, and go.
Hit allow. Yeah. Move that window so you can see the buttons.
move the top little window.
Yeah, just grab.
Up here?
No, just
No,
that window.
there you go. Click and drag that little window.
No, you have to put the tip of the arrow on the top there. There you go. Oh, too far up.
Down lower,
Right there.
right there. Click now and drag.
Oh,
Okay.
There you go.
Now
Okay.
type in those boxes.
Whoops, what's happening? Okay,
And then done. Yeah.
Okay, so I found where they put that.
You sure it's not iCloud.com?
I was pretty sure it was in here for the backups.
Okay.
Try personal information.
On the left side.
No, I said it. Try devices.
you know, it might have something to do with my husband on his iPad because it may have nothing to do with it, but under documents, under files, his files are like totally corrupted or something.
Is he using the same ID as you?
Yes, it's my iPad. So there might have been something funky going on there yesterday about the same time.
Let me do a quick check here. Those backups are stored. They've changed things a little bit once in a while.
We've probably lost some people through this. I'm really sorry, everybody.
Well, it's an education on this.
Okay. In a panic, I emailed Joe last night, the committee.
Sandy, it seems to me that I've lost a note or two, it seems, unless my memory is really bad. Yeah, I'd go to add a new note or something and it should show you all the old ones. And I swear that some of my old notes don't show up anymore.
One of the things that's challenging for me, Sandy, is I have so many notes. You have 157 notes. And if you don't add, if you haven't modified that usernames and passwords in a while, then it shows your list in chronological order. So you might just scan, if you click back on notes again, go ahead and click on notes. And then click on all iCloud in the left column.
I see there's a new folder there. Could it possibly be?
That,
Yep. Would still be an
That-
all like.
that was
No,
at
that, yeah, but that's
7:15 last night. That's when everything disappeared and this
right.
popped
But that, all you did was you accidentally hit your create a new note and it created a new note. It didn't erase the other one. What I'm
Okay.
saying is I think it's further down your list, and it maybe the name is a little bit different or something. So scroll down and
Yeah, there aren't that
see.
many.
Sort by date created or date edited or title.
Well, if she hasn't edited it in a while, it's going to be down.
No, I use it all the time.
Oh, okay.
Well, using it all the time and actually changing something is different.
I do.
If you just go in,
Yeah.
okay. If you just,
Yeah, I do change. Look at this to-do list. Okay, it's way down here. I went through this. I didn't see anything that looked like usernames and passwords. I really do need to go through this and get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah,
the only,
I found that mine are notes. I haven't had any problem with losing notes because I have got like thousands of them.
No.
Yeah, I haven't had any problem either. This is the first time, and of all of them, that's the one I wouldn't want to lose.
Well, let's since we're connected up here.
Yeah.
Can you go into your time machine?
Oh, sure.
Oh, this will be fun.
There it is. And
So
if I,
Enter.
yeah, enter time machine.
Enter.
yeah, I was there this morning and I
Okay.
went to applications.
Hoping that it would do notes the way it does some of the other things where you can actually see
Yeah.
that.
Those.
And
Yeah,
that's all.
that won't help you. That won't
Ah.
help
no.
you.
No. And why do I even have notes backed up if that's all I get?
No, that's just the information on it. That's the application itself.
Okay.
It's
Hey.
not the data.
Okay.
We can check the data because data stored in a different location. But the problem is we don't know. Do you know the last time you actually had the note?
Well,
You said
you mean
yesterday.
backed up. This is weird too. It says August. Last
That's
time.
application. Don't worry. Ignore that date. That's the date the application would have been installed on here.
Oh,
Okay. Let's do this. Go to hit cancel, exit out of this. And I want you see the go menu at the top there?
yeah. Let's see.
Click on the go menu and hold the option key down.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Where's the
Top-
go menu?
Top of the
In the
screen.
top of the screen.
Very top of the screen. Main menu, see go.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, yes,
there
yes.
you go.
Click on that. Now hold the option key down.
Option. Yep.
See the library?
Yep.
Select library. Okay. And I believe this is an application support, if I remember correctly. So
At the top. At the top.
application support,
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Double click that.
down the
Which
fourth
one?
thing on the list.
What?
Fourth thing.
Oh, application support. Thank you.
Open that. Okay, now scroll down. And we should have
Notes.
Notes. In alphabetical order?
No, it's not there.
back up to Apple to
Okay.
come into the com.apple section. Keep going, keep going. No. Let me look on my find out where it is before I start trying to.
This is unknown territory for me.
Yeah, you don't want to be in here unless you actually want to be in here. Let's see. Oh, okay, it's in containers. So go back to yeah, go back one.
Go back
No.
one.
There. Go down to containers. Keep going.
There, no. Oh, there it
Containers.
is.
Yep. Okay, and scroll down.
Notes.
The notes. Oh,
Okay.
oh,
There you
got a lot of
go.
notes here.
Ah,
Now go to the
third one looks like I'm sorry, the second one looks like the most recent one, first and second one. So yeah, go open up one of those. Open up data. That's weird.
Hmm.
That is not what I expected to see.
Hmm.
Would it be another note, maybe?
Try the
Uh,
note above. Try the note above that one. Go back button one more time and double click that top one. And data,
Hmm.
still same thing. Do you think?
Okay, it says here in the notes, there should be a data folder.
In,
Right there.
yeah, I just opened that one up.
Yeah.
And then there should be a library.
Yeah, click on that top one that says notes, Sandy. Double click data, double click library.
There we are.
Core data.
And then
Their core data.
No,
is there a
no
core
core
data?
No.
There
No.
is a notes though.
Okay, so
There
we'll
is a
check.
notes in there. Double click that
Look,
notes again.
Pretty old.
Hmm.
What's well, that one is 11:07 today. Hit choose application for me. And choose text edit. Scroll down to
The,
Text edit.
oh, text edit. Oh,
there you
There you go.
lovely.
go. Yeah, it's scroll down a little bit for me.
There's a note, trash folder.
Yeah. In the middle of this, we should see some recognizable text, which is your note itself, where the rest of it's formatting.
Am I going too fast?
No, you're fine. Oh, stop
You
there.
can just
There. Is that a note you remember? It's like instructions for something. Trackpad, come problematic calls
Mac
up.
meeting 10,
Mac
11.
meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that looks like that is the file that would be the notes. So go ahead and close that. Okay. And so right now, where we are, we want to enter time machine. So now if we go hit the little back buttons in the right side there, there's a up and a down. On the right side, today, no, on the right side says today, now, and then
Oh, okay,
No,
to highlight this.
keep going to the right.
I
See
think
it?
the pictures are blocking her.
Okay,
Yeah.
can I,
Get rid of your the pictures here. There should be a little there you go. See the today up down in the middle of the screen on the right,
In the gray area.
off the window
Oh.
to the right of the window. Keep
oh,
going
here,
down.
okay.
Yeah.
Go
Hit the
down,
up
Go
up.
back. Yeah, up.
that one. Second
Down.
one.
No, today.
Looks like there's nothing
No, back up.
beyond.
it's not
There's no-
doing anything.
Okay, so it's not back up. All right. Yeah, cancel. At this point, there may be a way of getting it off of that external drive. Did that external drive show up when you plugged it in?
Did what
I
show
don't
up?
see. I don't
Oh.
see her drive plugged in.
Is that external drive
No,
that?
no, it's not plugged in.
Oh, plug it in for us.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. It's gonna pop up on my desktop.
Yeah.
Mhm. we're gonna need to go back to the window that she was in.
Yeah, I know she closed it too soon.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay,
So
the drive.
close your mail.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should,
You can quit that. Yeah.
Okay, so now go to the go menu again.
Go menu, okay.
Hold the option key down and choose library. I was in the browser looking for something
Cool.
when, you remember which notes one she used, Kevin?
She was in
The first
go
one.
back up to the top. It was containers.
Oh,
there a-
right.
Is there a containers? Yeah,
Yeah.
double click that and then find notes. Click on the top one. And then the data, double click. And then library. And then go down to notes.
You guys are good.
Yeah, double click that. And now go into time machine. If you're, yeah, I see your time machine on the desktop now. So click on time machine up in your menu bar at the top to enter time machine.
So now we should see, but we're not.
Nope.
There they are.
There we
Okay.
go.
Now hit that up arrow again.
oh, look at that.
So the next one is today at 11 cents. Go hit it again.
Hit,
Well, that says 10/10/22, but it's still showing the same date.
No, showing out April
Oh,
10th.
April 10th.
It hadn't updated the screen.
Got it.
Hit the down arrow. There's probably a more recent one. If you change it often, we don't want to go too far. All right, so on that timeline on the right there, the far right's the little tick marks. See what it says now at the very bottom,
Very bottom.
right?
Right. Extreme edge on the right.
Here it says January 2022, January 2021, January 2020, January 2019 on the right side, all the way to the right, all the way to the right, all the way,
Keep
all
Keep
the way
going.
Keep going. Keep
oh,
right
going.
There you
I
are.
gotcha.
down to the very bottom, and you'll see it says now. Keep going. Okay, the one right before it. There you go. One right up. That click on that
That
one.
one?
Yeah, click there.
Up you've got.
All
Okay.
right.
Refresh the screen. See if it's newer than April 10th.
It should refresh. You want me to refresh the screen?
No, it usually does itself. So that's the most recent one it has.
Yeah, it says 12/21/22.
I would
It's-
say
Yeah, that's the most recent. How come
Okay.
that's not up there? Oh,
that's a problem. That's pretty old.
Click on that on that right side of your screen again where all the tick marks are. Click one, go down very, very bottom. And instead of clicking the one above now, click two above now. Go ahead and click that. No,
No.
there you
Yeah.
go. December 5th, click on that. And hit the down arrow underneath the date on the right side of the window just once. Now it went all the way to today. I wonder
And
why that's happening.
Jump, I think, like 5 at a time. Because they assume you're trying to go. I don't know why, but they do.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know if that's going to be pretty far back. It's almost a year.
I'll take. I don't know. How come December's not coming up? What is that?
Well, the thing is, the backup it was in December, but the file itself is showing the last time it was edited, and that's where
Well,
that's
this is
which
better
was
than
April. Yeah, but that's not, that SHM is not what we want, the top file.
The store data.
Yeah.
I would say if you, especially if you're paying for it, at this point, call Apple before we do something like this. Let's have Apple walk you through it because they'll know specifically whether or not this will work.
Mm.
Okay.
And then Sandy, you'll have to give us a presentation on it.
Or
Whatever
just
they
fill
do.
us in, or just fill us in what they ended up telling you to do.
Yeah, I sure will. I can't
Yeah.
see you guys anymore.
Yeah, if that was a December file, I'd say yeah, that's very good. But it's going back to April. You're gonna have
That's
lost
a
a lot.
long time. Yeah.
Okay. How do I get you guys back again?
Yeah.
on
Click
Zoom?
on Zoom.
Hmm,
At the top, do you have a stop sharing?
I do. There we go.
There you
There we
go.
are.
All right.
Here
I
we
can't
all
think-
are again.
Yeah, we tried. Thank you.
It was an education.
There's only 6 of us left. No, 6 of us left.
Everybody dropped out.
Okay. I'll give them a call. Definitely will.
Mm,
They're good. I haven't called them in ages.
wow.
All right.
Well, anybody else who's left have any questions?
Yes.
I have
Yes.
two questions,
They
but
come-
they're rather mundane compared to what we've just been through. I'm not that familiar with iPad, and I have a fellow resident here who plays Freecell on iPad, and suddenly her cards have shrunk down to a very small size. And I played everything I know how to play to increase the cards on her screen again. There's no settings, no matter where I go, no menus pop up. I don't know what to do for her to make those cards come back again. Any ideas?
Does she log in?
Marguerite, I was gonna say, just take this 2 fingers and spread them like this.
I
Try that?
tried that.
And it didn't get any bigger.
Nothing moves.
Is she logging in account, or is it just when you just open up and play?
I'm sorry.
Does she log into an account or in Freecell, or is it something that she just opens up?
It's an icon on her main menu that was set up by her grandson. You click on it and the game comes up. Now you can restart, you can deal again, you can do those things, but
No, no,
there's
well-
nothing I can find to increase the size of that thing.
Right. What I'm saying, if she's not logging into an account that she has to remember a password, I would say delete the app and its data and reload the app. It's just and then see if that solves the problem. It should take it back to its default settings. There's usually somewhere in one of the menu options. There's usually a way you can adjust the card graphics and the card size. Should be in there. But
Yeah, should be a settings option.
I can't find anything. I mean, I clicked on everything and I spread everything and nothing moves other than the instructions that come with the game itself.
delete the app, go into the app store, look at purchased, and it should be in that list, and then you can just reinstall it.
It's a freebie that her grandson set up.
Right. It'll still be under purchased. Everything you've gotten, whether it's
Right.
free, considered a purchase. It will be in your
Really?
so she can purchase history. There's a button that says not on this device, and it will only show you those things that are not already on the device. And so then you just find the free cell, click on it, and reinstall it. That should put it back to its default settings.
If she's got things that have been saved, like in terms of her scores and things like that, some sort of history, she may lose that, but you should be
will.
able to get it back to the same size.
Yeah.
Okay. The other,
I assume you tried quitting the app itself and then relaunching the app.
well, actually, there is no shutdown button on that thing either. I mean, I can minimize it.
If you go to the multitasking and then just push it off the multitasking, that quits the app.
Okay.
And then
I've got to come, Marguerite, at 1:30 today.
It's your client, Kevin.
Is it KS?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
His
I
name
will
will remain
swing by.
anonymous to protect
I've
the
got to go
innocent.
across the street from you today to Susan's, and when I go to Susan's after I finish up, I'll see if Kim's home and I'll go on over.
Okay. Could you stop in, because Sue Stickle needs to see you also, but she needed to leave. I have a second question. And it concerns Zoom. I had to delete my Zoom account recently, my Zoom account recently. It's a long story. So I reinstalled it. now I have a Zoom account which has my personal number, and I can sign in and I can manipulate the account. But when I go to my Zoom icon and invite somebody to a meeting, which I've been doing because I'm trying to teach somebody, I get an entirely different personal number. So apparently I have two Zoom accounts. I don't need two Zoom accounts and get confused. What do I do about that?
Well, pick one, log out of the other one, and log into that same account on the one you logged out of.
Just quit one?
Yeah, just log out, and then whichever one you want to log into, log back into it on that same one. So both are logged into the same account.
Okay. I'll play with it.
Yeah, it's basically
I'll,
remembers who it was logged into until you log out. So what you got is just two different logins, and just have to change one of them.
Okay. Been downloading Zoom for days.
Well, this isn't actually a Zoom app issue; it's just a login issue. So you wouldn't have solved it by deleting and reinstalling, because every time you logged in, it would have logged into that old account.
Okay, I just want one personal number, that's all. Okay, thank you.
Cool.
I think Ken has a question.
Yes. How do I move data from the old address book to the new contacts? I did a export from address book and got an ABBU file, and when I go to import it into contacts, it acts like it's going to and just sits there.
Well, first of all, did you do an archive or did you do individual files when you exported?
I think I did archive.
Okay. If you do an archive, when you import that archive, it will overwrite everything you currently have in contacts. That's fine if the contact is empty, but if you put some in there, you want to kind of bring these other ones in as well. That's not the option you want.
Okay, I do not have anything in contacts.
Okay. Then that archive should, if you open that archive in the new contacts, it should just bring them right in.
That's what I was hoping for, but as I say, it just
If
sits.
it, then what you want to do is go to the address book, export them as individual files. Make sure you create a folder so that they're not just spewed all over your desktop.
Okay.
Create a folder, put them in that folder, and then you can just take that group of files and just drag them right into the contacts app, and it should import them all in.
Okay. Thank you. Second question. In calendar, if I have,
And one question before I forget, you when you're in contact an address book, make sure you do a select all before you export so that it takes them all, not just the one that's highlighted.
okay, all right. In the calendar, how can I put a new event at the same time as another event is happening or is posted there? What I've been doing is I find a place where there's not an event, and then I create it there, and then I drag it to to the time that's superimposed on another one.
Two things. One is you can create as many events starting at the same time as you want. Now, if you're trying to create them by clicking and dragging on the calendar, once there's an event there, it's hard to do that because you accidentally click on the one that's there. But if you just hit the little plus, you can type in the information and the time, and it will put it at the exact same time. And what it does is it'll have them side by side instead of having one. Additionally, in the calendar, something that people don't really use that much, when you click on the little plus at the top there, it pulls up a little thing you can type in. You can actually say lunch with John at 7 p.m. or dinner with John at 7 p.m. on Friday. And we'll go to the next Friday, 7 p.m. and put that event with the details. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like using Siri with text. So that I find that's very useful a lot of times, because otherwise you got to say, 7 p.m. and then check off everything. This way you can do it in one sentence if you want to.
Okay, I'll give that a try. Thank you.
You're welcome. We have anybody else with questions? I know Ken Gassman's over there looking like he wants to say something. David, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Kevin. Or remember your name, George? Yeah. I just finished, just FYI, I just got through 16 days with the flu, and man, it has kicked my butt. So if you haven't got a flu shot, I don't know if it's too late or not. I got a flu shot, but I still got it, and it was a bitch. But I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just bringing you up to date.
Yeah, there's something I've had getting something going around, so they're not happy.
Ken
Yep.
Whalen, can I ask a question, Ken?
Yes.
Yeah. With your calendars, when you're doing 2 events at the same time, is it something? One of the things that I do is I use different calendars. So let's say I've got Sierra is doing one event at that. Let's say she's doing something at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and I'm doing something at 1 o'clock this afternoon. I create a calendar for her and a calendar for me so that I get them, so whenever I enter anything for her, then I see her in a different color because I have her calendar a different color, and it's easier for me to recognize. I don't know if that applies to what you're trying to do, but that may be helpful also to kind of have a color-coded system.
Also, if you have a coded system, you can actually uncheck on the left side the other color event, and it will disappear from the view. And then you can click and drag if you want to do it that way.
Okay. Yeah, I do use colors for different categories, but not for different people. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one that's for Sierra, one that's for me, one that's for both of us together. So if we're attending something together, that's a different color. And then one for my business and one for, so I have a whole, TMUG is a different color. And so I've got them all on there, but I can just quickly glance and I know my colors at this point to know whose event is coming up.
I'm sort of similar. I have things to do with home, medical, the caregivers, and yeah.
You can also take one of those calendars that you've done for someone else and share it with them so that you can both enter things into that calendar and it will appear on each of your calendars.
I do that with Sierra. So I share my calendar with her and she shares her calendar with me. But when I add an appointment for her on her calendar, it shows up automatically. And if I enter something for me, she sees it on her calendar. She gets a notice saying that Kevin added an event, and then she can see that I've got an appointment coming up that I just scheduled. So it's helpful for keeping us sort of coordinated.
Mm-hmm. I'm working alone these days, so.
Okay.
But I have been delighted to find that the synchronization with the iPhone is wonderful when I'm at a doctor's office and making a upcoming appointment.
Yeah. They always ask me if I want a card. I said, nope, it's in my calendar. I'm good. Anybody else get questions? All right. Well, I think we'll call it in another meeting to an end, and we'll see you all in February.
Thank you.
Thanks, George.
And
Thank
Kevin,
you.
wonderful presentation.
Thanks.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
All right. Everybody have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thanks.